Hello, everyone. This is Tony from the Ffbe team.
And hello, everybody. I am Justin. I am the community manager. I like your enthusiasm, Tony.
Thank you. Well, it is an exciting live stream today, and how time flies. It's already December, Justin. Can you believe it? The year's already ending.
It is pretty surprising, especially when I was like looking back at, because this is going to be like a recap stream. I guess you guys can see a little bit of a spoiler on what's coming up first. Anyway, this is like a recap stream of like 2023. So looking back at some of the details, I was like surprised at how long ago some of the things were. So yes, I'm surprised that it's December.
Yes. And then, like Justin said, we are doing something different today. And then we are going back and looking at all the activities we had that happen throughout the year.
Yeah. So, yep, it's a community live stream. So I hope everybody shares your thoughts with us and everybody else. But yeah.
Yes. And what makes this live stream special is we have a special guest today. We have our Ffbe content creator, Sinzar, is here with us today.
Hey there, guys. Thanks again for inviting me, Justin and Tony. This should definitely be exciting to discuss, the year of 2023 and, all the cool stuff in Brave Exvius. And just thanks again for the invite.
Of course. Thank you for joining, as always. Or not as always, but yes, thank you very much for joining us today. Before we get into the content of the live stream, we have a special guest here. So I guess maybe we could just do like a quick introduction with him. Get break some ice, I guess.
Yes, let's do it. So first of all, I guess I got to ask, why is it Kaito that you have as like the icon?
Kaito, the NeoVision's Kaito is a unit that I really love the design of. He's got just a really intricate kit. He's fun to use. He's very, very useful in all kinds of content. But that being said, I actually prefer the 5-star sprite over the NeoVision sprite. So that's why I decided to go with him. So great unit, but I do like the more basic 5-star sprite slightly better.
Interesting. Okay.
Good to know. So yeah, I guess maybe, we got a couple questions here, so I'm just sort of deciding which one to ask. So you do a lot of like content with other content creators and that sort of stuff. So I just was wondering, like, what's it like working with other content creators? What's your process for finding people to come on your videos, that sort of thing?
For people to come onto my videos, honestly, it's mostly just people in Discord, just casual chit chat. And I'll be like, I've got an opening this week. Does anyone want to join me? And then first come, first serve. Also, people will usually come to me and ask about like a favorite unit. Like, I saw from the other version that we're getting like Yuna in the future. Can I be on that video? And I'm like, sure, I'll put you down.
Oh, that's cool.
And then as far as going on like other people's videos, I've guested on other people's videos like, Deus Gaming, Flip Method, Kamikiro, Gert, the Global Podcast. Like them, they just, same thing on Discord. That is message, say, hey, I've got a video I want to do. Do you want to come join and talk about it? I'm like, sure, why not?
Cool. So you got a schedule. So I guess anybody out there in Twitch chat, maybe you could be on a video. You got to get penciled in.
Yep.
All right, I have a question. So, for each content, I mean, obviously, I'm sure it varies, but like, how long does it usually take to make like one video?
For me, for those of you that watch my videos, you kind of know, I really don't do any video editing. I just do raw footage and upload it as is. So for most content, it's just the time to record the video and that's it. I record it, I upload it, it's good to go. Minimal work. I don't have the flashiness of like screen transitions, etc., but it's less work for me. For stuff like Dark Visions or Clash of Wills that, is a really involved video, it takes a lot of research. That'll be, depending on how hard the fight is, up to hours and hours in advance of research and planning. And then the video itself, again, no editing. So it's just whatever you see on the video.
Have you ever done any editing to a video?
Honestly, the only editing I do is I will just do cuts where I would, cut out, like, for example, on a really long trial, like the Queen trial, for example, if it's, 40 turns, I'll cut out the boring turns. But other than that,
Right.
that's pretty much it.
How about those like the speech bubbles you have at the very end, or like for like the thumbnail of like the videos? Like, do you think about that at the very beginning, at the very end, or like how does that work?
No, for those, that's I'll do the video first, and then after the video, if anything funny happened during the video, I'll like add that as like a little comic strip dialogue,
Yeah.
witty comment. And then for other videos where I don't have those, it's like, well, the video didn't really warrant a little comic thumbnail.
Okay, I see. No, because I always love those like the speech bubbles. So I was wondering like, because yeah, like you said, there's times that there are ones and there aren't ones. So okay, now I know.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Justin. Go ahead.
I didn't have another question. Maybe you did.
Okay, yeah. So I know you have over like 2,000 videos, but like, how long have you been creating like FFB content, and like, if you could tell us like how it started, like.
Yeah, so I've been recording content since the very beginning. The first video on my channel is the 2-star Ifrit fight from the very first island in Grand Shelt. So I've had content since the very beginning. That being said, no one really watched my content in the early on. Like I was posting it, it'd get like 2 views. It wasn't until the Omega trial, the first Omega trial, that I used like a super budget carried by Olive Team, and I posted it. And that became wildly popular on Reddit. People spread like, oh, we can beat the Omega trial copying this team. And that was like the jumping point where my channel went from no one watched it to all of a sudden lots of people were watching it.
Interesting.
Cool.
So
and
that's when you...
Now they're all in chat.
Go ahead.
That's all I was going to say. Were you going to ask something else, Tony?
Yeah, do you have any like favorite videos you created? I mean, like obviously there's just so many, but like maybe in like the past year, or like any recent video like that you felt that like, oh, that was like a really good video.
Probably my favorite videos are the ones for the really satisfying, challenging trial content, like Scorn of the Moon, the Scorn of the Bloody Moon. My first clear in that was really, I was really proud of that. Like the Kefka series boss battle was another one that's really memorable to me, and I just really enjoyed that video, that kind of stuff. So the really hard content, of course, the Telfusana stuff was always really great and well done, and I recorded that. So those kind of like really hard contents that I'm really proud of are my favorite videos.
Oh, okay.
Did you? I mean, this might be hard to answer, but do you have any videos that had like way more views than you ever expected them to? It might be hard to answer.
Honestly, the weekly news videos, I didn't actually start those until about 2 years ago. So the first 5 years, I just didn't even bother with that. And then it was like during a slow week, I'm like, there's really nothing to do videos. I'll just record and talk about the news. And I did, and like it was so popular. I'm like, oh my Lord. And I just kept doing it because people really enjoyed that content.
Yeah. I think a lot of people like the insight, maybe a lot of people that are playing are not as knowledgeable, say as like you are. So they don't, if they read in the notices, like what a unit is that's coming out, maybe you have more insight as to how useful they'll be, that sort of stuff. So I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that, because like me myself coming into the game like at a later stage, like I would watch Sinzar's video just to know what's going on, because it is it gets complicated. So like it is complex game. So, all right, well, thank you, Sinzar. We do have like a question segment later on as well. So let's look back at the FFB this year, and then let's take a look at some of our first contents.
Cool.
So first, let's go over the units that were released this year. So can we pull that up, Justin?
Sure. I think the next slide is the spoiler. So.
Okay. Sorry about that. So before we get into that, we're gonna go over the units that were released this year. Sinzar, do you have any ideas how many units were released this year, January up until today?
So if you're getting something like 2, sometimes 1, sometimes 3 units per week, about 4 weeks in a month, that's 8 per month, approximately 12 months. So somewhere around 96.
We're around
I guess.
96.
That's a good guess.
Chat, that is a good guess. Chat, let us know what you think.
Yeah, let's see what chat says a little bit. I think
Yeah.
somebody said 50 units right there, so a little bit
50?
lower
Okay.
than what Sinzar said. 85? And Price is Right rules apply to this, so you can't be over. Okay, so kind of all over the place here. 115, 100, 87, 107. All right, well, I think let's take a look. Somebody said 45. Okay, yeah, that's clever. All right, so let's take a look. Are you ready?
Let's do it. All right, so there were a total of 86 units. So just so there, somebody said there was 85, right?
Yeah, somebody said 85. Somebody said 87 as well. So.
Oh, okay, really
Pretty
close.
close.
But yes, pretty close. But Sinzar too, you were really close as well, like 96. Only 10 units different. And by the end of the year, who knows? It might be 96 exact.
Yeah, that would be a lot, but maybe.
All right, so we're gonna take a look at each of these units released, but first, not all 86 units at once. So let's take the units that were released from January to March.
Some bite-sized unit lists here.
So it might be a bit hard to see all the units, but I'm just gonna go over a quick recap of what's happening at the beginning of the year. So the Lunar New Year version of Cleome was released in January. The summer theme units came out in February. March, we had our first leader skills with first units with leader skills, Ibarra and Diosis. Sinzar, any units that like stood out during these period?
For these batch of units, my personal favorite in here is Bart's, and I would love to use him more. But some of the standout units would be probably like Abigail, as still one of the by far best tanks in the game. She has absolutely stood the test of time. Melissa as well released during this period, and she is again an absolute top tier unit. And as you mentioned, Ibarra kind of kicked off the leader skill meta, and she was the first, and she definitely did not disappoint. Very good unit.
Yeah, her design was also very nice. I remember when Ibarra first came out, people were like, "Oh, so it's kind of like a Halloween unit," but it wasn't. She wasn't really like a Halloween unit. So the new version of her was very cool.
Yes, really cool. And then just like a side note, but like we posted like on our social media, we posted her CGLB, which is actually like the highest. I mean, at least this year, and probably even like last year, but like the highest viewing video. We had over like 20K like views. So
oh wow,
it was very popular, and then very well liked as well. And this about Abigail, I do remember Abigail because like when Abigail came out, like the community was like, oh, like we they thought she wasn't properly like introduced, so like they didn't really know her backstory. So we immediately like did like a social media post of like a unit spotlight, talking about like Abigail and her like the drones. I think like it was like a little backstory about like Abigail's drone being like so useful that like they even do like the chores and like they clean the house for her. So it's like, oh, like Abigail, not only a great unit, but she'll be like a perfect like roommate or something. I think we did that like post back then as well.
So not really related, but I have a question. Maybe you have an answer too. So Cleome was the Lunar New Year unit. Do you have any reasons as to why that could have been?
For me?
Well, for Tony, I guess. I think he's the one that has the answer.
Because it was in the popularity unit poll, like it was one of like the highest rankings. So yeah, we chose that. We chose her.
Interesting.
Because I think some people were just wondering like why it was Cleome, right?
Yeah, I think in general people, I mean, I guess I've seen people be like, why did this unit get picked for like a new version instead of somebody else? But in this particular example, because she was high up in the popularity poll, so that's probably a good list to start with if you're making a new version of a unit.
Yeah, from season 3, she usually is a really popular like fan favorite unit from all the cast of season 3.
Mhm.
If you question people, usually she'll be one of the top picks from that little troop of main characters.
Yeah, as evident in the popularity poll. So yeah, anybody out there? Is there a unit out there for those in chat that maybe had a lasting impression that we didn't discuss already? Be interested to know. If popular units picked, well, the popular units are sort of picked by the development team. They're not really picked by us necessarily. So, yeah. But yeah, just waiting for some people here. So Abigail, Melissa, Malfazy. I don't think Malfazy was a little later. We'll cover her soon.
Yeah, she was a bit later. Which also was like the top, like the number one.
Yeah.
Popularity poll unit. So
cool. Well, so maybe we should get into the next ones. Let's take a look.
All right,
at the next
let's take a
here.
look at the next batch.
April through June.
April through June. So while we give everybody a quick second to take a look at that list, let me just quickly go over what was happening around that time as well. All right, so during this time between April and June, the Dark Lineage units were released in April, and the Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion units and the FF8 units were released in May. Our global anniversary units, Elena and Rish, were released in June. So a lot of things were happening around this time as well. So after the leader skill came out, the Dark Lineage started. So there were a lot of like good units around this time as well. But again, since there are any units that you liked personally, or just any units that stood out?
The standout units from this batch, I would say, would probably be Flaring Rain, who just got some global upgrades, and that just made him. He was already a desirable unit, and the global upgrades just really sealed the deal to make him a wonderful, wonderful pull that has really stood the test of time. Even today, you still see him used in some Clash of Wills. Maybe not as many, but he's still very, very usable even today. And then there's someone else that he was expected to be good, but I personally didn't realize how overbearing Genesis would be. Even today, he is still one of the #1 Dark Visions units, and I think he's even going to be a really good unit going into the future as well. He's just that strong, and I definitely knew he'd be good when he came out, but I didn't know he'd be this good.
Yeah, that's an interesting, because this was only like midway through the year, so it's not like he is like a super recent unit or anything like that.
And then I guess the other ones would be the anniversary units, Elena and Richt. I think this year's anniversary units, both of them, were pretty good. Richt especially, I'm very happy with Richt. I think he was, great design. He even got a story event, which is really cool when they always add, lore and backstory, which is great. So we actually know who he is. So yeah, Richt was definitely a highlight of the anniversary for me.
Yeah, it was cool when they were like showing off during the fan event. We'll cover the fan event a little bit later, but it was kind of funny because I think he was in like a picture before the video. So there was like people in the audience. They were like, "Who is that guy?" And then he was showing off like right after.
Oh yeah, I remember that as well. Yeah. And like, since we just mentioned about the anniversary units, Justin, any idea how long it took to create these anniversary units?
So from what I understand, they take about 6 months, but maybe up to a year. That seems like an awful long time for like.
But no, you are right. For the CGLB for Elena and Rish, yeah, it took about a year. But usually, like you said, it takes about like 4 to like 6 months.
I guess there's 2 of them together, so maybe that makes sense.
That's true. So it took a whole year.
So yeah, I guess some units are sort of planned out like more than a year in advance if they already started working on the CGLB before then.
Oh yeah, because like just creating it took like an year. So before that, right? Like the design sketches and like the concept and like just thinking of like what kind of unit it's gonna be. So like I would say it was somewhere between like a year and a half to even closer to like 2.
Wow. So sort of around then we had like, I guess this is a question for Sinzar, because I have it here on my list, but sort of around then we had like an announcement for like a celebrity. So is there, just a random question, is there any celebrity that you would want to see added to the game, Sinzar? Big or small?
Ooh, celebrity for Brave Exvius, who would I pick? I don't have anyone specifically in mind, so I guess I would say this is probably going to make people laugh at me, but because I really enjoy cooking shows, so it's really out of place. But someone like Bobby Flay would be a celebrity I'd pick. Just 'cause I love cooking shows, and I really like his shows and all. So
I thought you were going to say Gordon Ramsay, but yeah, Bobby Flay, that's interesting.
He's a little bit loud for Brave Exvius.
You're right, that was very random, but I'm here for it. I like that. I appreciate that. Cool. So, I guess maybe anybody out there that would want to see anybody else added to the game, that'd be interesting, or what maybe everybody who stood out to everybody else out there over the last few months from April to June. Quite a bit. This image here has more pictures than the last image, so I wonder if the next one will have even more.
That's true. I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna show it later on, but I do remember that like at the live stream. Oh no, at the fan event as well for like the new units, we had like the design sketch, show that we showcased at the actual fan event, and also we did like the community or the social media post for the design sketch for Risht and Ellen as well, which is still carried on now. And then we like that concept, so like we did it for like show and stuff, but that's where we started for like the design sketch for the social media posts and stuff as well. So I really do remember Risht and Elena for that as well.
Yeah, they were like they had like easels, or no, was it on the wall? I think it was on the wall, right? They had the
I think it was on the wall. Yeah.
And people could go like take a look at it and see. Was that on the live stream? I guess I can't remember if that was or not.
Yeah, I was trying to remember if it was. Maybe not, but the social media post up, so
yeah, for sure.
Whatever.
Cool. So let's see here. Let's move on to the next one. Are you ready to take the next batch here, Tony?
All right. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Cool.
Let's take the next batch.
July through September.
So let's go over July to September. So there we have it. All right. So what was happening during this time was in July, Ffbe, who was the winner of the unit design contest held back in January, was released. In August, the World of Divisions units and the Final Fantasy 13 units were out. And then in September, this is still like relatively new, but Aya from the Parasite Eve collaboration was released. And we also had 2 Addison Rae collaborations in September. So September was packed with like collaborations, but yeah, so again, another 3 months with a lot of action. But here again, any units that stood out, any noteworthy mentioning?
For sure. For this list, a personal thing for me would be Zidane, because I'm a huge Final Fantasy IX fan. Again, I don't really get to use him that often just because he's not, as meta as I'd like him to be. But just as a personal thing, Zidane is really nice. But as far as really strong units, Ffbe is on here, and she was a really well-designed unit. She was a fan design winner, and just really strong. And then also the new leader skills started during this with Wondrous Flash Lightning and Void Mage Roka. And those, I was really happy to see them improve these units. Like, Squall didn't quite make a splash because, he wasn't really as impressive. But like Lightning and Roka have become much better units because of the global upgrades to their leader skills. And I'd, love to see that kind of stuff for other units. But I guess the biggest one here would be Aya Brea for me, the Parasite Eve collaboration. It's a collaboration that it was like teased years and years ago at a fan festa. And then we had to wait like 5 years for it, but it was definitely worth the wait. She is an amazing unit. It's a great game, classic game. So she's really, really the standout for me in this batch.
Yeah, it was funny, like before we had that live stream showing off the collaboration, it was funny watching people guess like what the news was or what could be coming out. But I think a lot of people were very surprised to see Parasite Eve.
Yes. And then Fujimoto-san, when Fujimoto-san came, or Hiroki-san came to the live stream, like he was mentioning that it took years and years to make this collaboration happen, right? Like 3-4 years. And then like, since it was like an old game to get all like the graphics and all like, then they're talking to people like,
yeah, he was saying that like
it's
Photoshop didn't really exist back then or something like that.
So. No. So yeah, like the visuals and stuff too. Like, so he had to like run around the company asking for people if they knew where like all these visuals were kept, and then, So
I like to picture somebody like walking into like a dusty storage room, opening like a file cabinet, and like dust is shooting out, and they're like, "Back here, maybe."
Yeah, but yeah. So like, yeah. Hiroki-san was saying it took years to make it happen.
Yeah, but it was very cool. So I'm glad to hear that Sinzar liked it as well.
Oh, for sure. And also, just a request to the global team, if we could get more collaborations like that with, classic games that, we can get into Brave Exvius, that'd be really cool.
Do you have a request? Are there anybody or any that you would like to see?
For my personal request for a collaboration, it would be Last Remnant. And I'm hoping that can maybe happen because it is under Square Enix. So maybe, but it's a game I really enjoyed. It's an RPG, it's pretty recent. So hopefully they want to have all those problems with, the art and all. But that would be my request. Let us get Rush Sykes into Brave Exvius.
Whenever somebody asks me that question, the game that I always say is Grandia 2, because that was sort of like, I got my Dreamcast and that was like the first game that I got. And I don't know. I know some people out there have played it, but I don't think it's like up there at like Final Fantasy level or anything like that. But I enjoyed that game quite a bit.
I guess I've been spoiled because like I love this Legend of Mana and like the Xenogears series, and like those have been coming out. So I guess I'm happy with that.
Are there any like Japanese specific games that you played that never came out over here that you would like to see? Maybe you don't even know if a game never came out over here.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that might be true. But like all the games that I like, it has been released. So
yeah, I don't actually know if the list is very large for like Square Enix games that haven't, other than like Dragon Quest 11, I think, or whatever one it is, 10 maybe. Anyway, cool.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there has a shout out to any units that released during July and September that stood out to you guys, let us know before we move on to the next batch.
I think before, and then just real quick before we move on, I think one I guess unit that we've been talking about in the past live stream as well is the Blood Dancer Elespris. We might be able to talk about it next week. So we have another live update live stream next week, but I think we'll finally be able to talk about it next week. So make sure you join us next week's update as well.
Oh, so a stream next week, huh? Interesting.
I would definitely be sure to tune in because she's another standout from this batch for other reasons.
Cool. So yeah, stay tuned for the in-game news, I guess, on that, and then see you then. But yeah, I guess just a little shout out there to the War of the Visions units. Always got to give a little up to them, and Addison Ray, of course. But yeah, so let's move on. Let's go to the next ones here.
All right, so this will be the last batch from October up till now.
Cool. What do we got?
All right. So during this period, we had the Halloween-themed Chow, which was released in October. Units from Adventure of Dai collaboration. Show released in November. And then just this month, the Final Fantasy Tactics units were just released. So any stood outs here?
For this one, we've got Deity of War Tyvis, who is again one of those upgraded leader skills, which is really gives him a place in the game, and it's great that they did that. Also, I was really pleased to see that they updated most of the Dragon Quest die units. I personally wasn't really that excited for that collaboration, but after seeing the global upgrades, Dark King, Vern, Dragonoid die, etc., they're like really good units, and I got some of them during the video summons, and I'm really happy about that. And then, of course, Chow, again, really well-designed unit. He's even seeing use in Dark Visions as well as Clash of Wills, so he was decent. He didn't really get too much use in the most recent Clash of Wills because Water or Mages specifically weren't the best option there, but still a great unit, and he's seeing use in the current Dark Visions as well, which is really nice whenever you see the Clash units crossing over in the Dark Visions and still being useful. It's always nice.
Yeah, indeed. And you made a little mention of this, but shout out to the video summons. I know when that came out, people were confused / delighted by them, and they were like, this is a bug, is this going away? But but yeah, it's cool that you got one of the Adventure of Die units from that.
Yes, and then it's there to stay, so
yes.
And I'm really happy that Sinzar, you like the Chow, because like Chow had like mixed reviews. I personally loved it, but like some people were like, wait, why did we choose Chow for the Halloween units? But the reason's simple, like same as like Cleome, like Chow is definitely one of our fan favorites, so we wanted to do something special with Chow. So, but Sinzar, I'm glad that Sinzar, you liked it.
Yeah, it was a little bit strange to see him for Halloween because you see Chow originally like this, cheerful, happy, Lunar Festival dog, and then like now he's spooky for Halloween. It's a little strange, but the unit itself was definitely well designed.
Yeah, I like the vision card as well. Yeah. So, are you a big fan of Final Fantasy Tactics, Sinzar?
I am. I really enjoy Tactics, the game. I haven't pulled for the current units, but definitely, like Ramza and Agris, they're decent. The issue for me is Earth at the current time doesn't really have a big roster. So if Earth can be built up, over time with either new units or upcoming units, it can be in a lot better place. But I feel like at the current time, Earth is a little bit behind, like Fire or Water.
Yep. Cool. I know the Final Fantasy Tactics fans are eternal. They always hope for collaborations in any like Final Fantasy game that shows up that even might have a collaboration with them. People get really excited for them.
That's true. I think Sinzar, you just had like a collaboration with like Gert as well, and he was really excited about the Final Fantasy Tactics as well. So.
Oh yes, it's definitely a game, and I'm hoping that those video summons come through for me in the next few days. I can get myself a copy of either one or both of them.
It did for somebody in chat said that they were able to get Agria, so you have a chance as well, I guess. Cool.
All right.
So yeah, let's see here. What do we got next? But yeah, I think that's all the units that we have.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's pretty much a wrap from the 2023. I guess kind of hard to choose from, but since there are any favorite like unit out of like 2023, or even like it doesn't have to be 2000. Maybe we'll do one for like 2023 so far, and then just favorite unit all time.
For 2023. I guess I would have to go with Aya Brea, just because she's both the powerful meta unit on top of having that nostalgia. So for that one this year, that would have to be my pick. For favorite unit of all time, just in general, it would probably be the 5-star version of Warrior of Light Bartz, the 5-star Bartz. His unit, the way that he like performed, it wasn't all about like limit burst, which is most units these days. It gets a little bit repetitive. He had a kind of unique mechanic where he would do his like level up mechanic and permanent buffs over time. And I really like that. We've gotten more units that do that, like Neovision's Onion Knight, and there's like one or two others that do the same kind of thing. It's not seen too often these days because, Brave Exvius modern day is all about speed and turn 1, turn 2, not really, spend 5 turns powering up and then you're ready to go. But that kind of unit design, I really like the design. I just wish that there was more content to use that style of unit in.
Indeed. Cool. So let's see here. So I guess maybe just a quick question here about the story. Is there a season that you like the most out of like all time?
As far as story goes, I would have it's a real toss up between season 1 and season 2 for me. But I would probably have to go with season 1, the original, just because season 1 had a lot of really interesting story arcs, like individualized. For example, the Zoldad arc with like the rebellion and Jake and Shira and all that was really cool. And then one of my favorites is the Oldirian arc with Water Veritas and like Luca, Mercedes, L, etc. That was really cool, where they were attacking old Oldirian. They needed Leviathan's help. Really awesome. It had just a bunch of stuff, and then a little bit of a spoiler, but the enemy swap at the end of season 1, where it was all about the Veritas were against you. Then all of a sudden, here come the Sages of Hest to become the new bad guys. I found that to be pretty cool. So season 1 just had a bunch of really interesting story. Also, Dr. Lazarov, kind of an underrated villain in the story because he only had a short time. But I thought Dr. Lazarov was really cool from season 1. One of the villains kind of got taken down really quickly, so most people probably don't even remember him. But he was really cool.
Okay. Yeah, that was a more thorough answer than I expected, but yeah. Cool. That's awesome. I like when people really enjoy the story and that sort of stuff. And you remember it surprisingly well, I would say, for a game that's been over 7 years old.
Oh yeah.
It was definitely memorable.
Cool.
Oh, I got a question as well.
Yeah.
How about for like just like sprite designs, or just not really like the skills or like if it's useful or not, but like any units that you like, and just because of its like design.
Artistically, the sprites. I would say probably my favorite. I'll do male and female. So the favorite male sprite would probably be the 5-star version of Paladin Cecil. I'm personally not a fan of sprites with like overdone special effects, and his is just really clean. It's just the standard holy paladin in his armor with his flowing cape, his marvelous hair. It's just a really good sprite, and I just really like Paladin Cecil's 5-star sprite. For female, probably Malphasy, like the crows and all.
I like that one.
Swirling around her. Just a really good sprite, and it's like it's dark and it's like foreboding, but it's well drawn. It's cool, and the crows just really seal the deal. I like it a lot.
Did you vote for Malphasy for the unit popularity poll?
I did not, unfortunately. I did not vote for her in the poll.
So who did you vote for?
Yeah.
My votes in the poll were for Hayo, Folka, and Sol, or Saul. Were my 3 votes.
I see.
For the Brave Exvius poll. Now, for the global exclusive poll, I think I voted for Zahn.
Oh, okay. You're in good company there. A lot of people very much like Zahn. Cool. Just when you were saying the sprite thing with Malphasy, I was just thinking to myself, I always pictured Sylvie to be like very small, and then when her CG came out, I was like surprised by how like big she was, if that makes any sense at all. Cool. So next up, what do we have next, Tony?
Next up, we're gonna go take a look at the recap of the 2023 Clash of Wills.
Clash of Will bosses released in 2023.
Yes.
Interesting. Cool. So let's take a look here.
All right, let's take a look at the list. Again, quite small, so might
Hopefully
be a
they
bit...
can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, if you're on your phone, it might be kind of hard.
All right, so yeah, let me just go over them real quick. So in January was the Hare of Unknown Origin, February Moth of the Unknown, March Shogun of Unknown Origin, April Moon of Unknown Origin, May Wolf of Unknown Origin, and June Dark Swordsman from Beyond, July Harpy of Unknown, August Amphibian of Unknown Origin, and September Songstress of Unknown Origin, October Dog Spirit of Unknown Origin, and November War Machine of Unknown Origin.
I see.
Yep.
Quite a lot there. And it seems like chat is sort of expecting Sinzar to have some opinions here about this.
Clash of Wills is definitely my favorite content.
I like that answer. So I guess first off, are there any that left an impression on, I guess, Sinzar, and anybody in chat is feel free to answer that as well. An impression meaning, you know, maybe good or bad, any that were sort of more difficult or stressful than you would like, any that you did enjoy, that sort of thing.
From this list, probably looking at this list, probably the most positive impression would honestly be the first one, the Hare of Unknown Origin, mostly because it introduced not specifically a new mechanic, but a mechanic you don't see very often. The Hare of Unknown Origin would AoE and eject your entire party for a turn or two. And it was kind of interesting for them to, you know, go outside the box a little bit and give us stuff we don't really see. Like, we've had bosses in the past that'll eject like one unit for a turn or two. But this one like ejected your entire party, which really like disrupted our classic, you know, spend 3 turns setting up a burst and then burst. But by being ejected and needing to burst on the immediate turn you came back, it kind of added like a new layer of strategy. And I really enjoyed that for the Hare of an Unknown Origin. So for the other side of the coin, the one that left a not so good impression, it would probably be Anthemosa, the Songstress of Unknown Origin. That was one. It was. I wouldn't say it was the tuning was poor. I think either the design was poor or people were, you know, questionable. Maybe it wasn't working as it was intended by the original developer. But it would like apply statuses to your party, and your party had absolutely no way to prevent that. So you had to resort to really cheesy strategies by intentionally getting your party killed, or at least someone killed, to re-raise. And, you know, people did make it work and got clears in, even perfect scores by a few small percent. But the issue for that one was it just wasn't really that fun. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. And it wasn't fun for me and some other players as well. So I was glad to see that the ones that came after that, you know, we didn't go down that same path.
Indeed.
Yes,
well
indeed.
said. But, you know, we've got a whole year going forward here, so we'll see what is to come out for that. But we're looking at 2023 here, so no spoilers there.
Other than
yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was just gonna ask. Other than the Songstress Unknown Origin, was there any other bosses that were quite challenging, but in like more like in a fun way?
If I can cheat a little bit and go, because we've only got 11 here, can I go back one extra month to the ginger buff man from last December?
Okay.
The ginger buff man, I really enjoyed. Now, that one might be a controversial opinion because it was excessively challenging, and most players struggled with that very, very much. But that one he dealt so much excessive damage to your party, but it was survivable and you could work around it. And I really enjoyed that. So yes, I can already see a little bit of chat. Like it was too hard. Well, sometimes that can be fun. And for that one, it was hard in a way that I found satisfying. And so Ginger Buff Man, I really did enjoy, even though I probably can admit it maybe was a little overtuned for the general population.
How long does it usually take for you to like clear like a boss?
Clash of Wills, the bosses, the recent ones, typically I've been live streaming them when they come out on Thursday morning for my time. And on average, I would say I've been getting a rank 1 within 2 hours, but it depends on the boss. Some of them have been relatively simple and we get it in like under an hour.
Mhm.
Others of them I have, had to end the stream without getting a rank 1, and it would take like as much as an extra day or so.
Mhm.
But for the most part, we usually, with the stream chats help and all, we can figure it out, and within 2 or 3 hours, get a rank 1.
Mhm.
Okay, that seems pretty good. I like that. That's not bad at all.
Is there? Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, please.
Okay. Is there anything? So when you create the videos, like, is there anything that you like kind of keep in mind, like, or like to give like advice to like the viewers?
Probably the most critical thing I try to, when possible, focus on in videos is viable alternatives. So if, for example, I'm using like Melissa in a video and I use her dark imbue for to negate some physical damage for a turn, I will attempt to point out other alternatives when they exist. Like, for example, that specific strategy, maybe you can use Malphasy to imbue the boss with wind or something. Stuff like that. So, especially like gear as well, like, the Jade Moon Pendant, which is a common one that is old, limited, but very powerful still today. I'll try to talk about alternatives for swaps. Sometimes there's just no viable swap, and if you don't have that piece of gear or that unit, the strategy just falls apart and you can't use that specific strategy. But when possible, I try to mention alternatives.
Okay. No, that really helps because like like that I watch I watch your video when I try these as well. So like, and then when I don't have the units, it really helps. So awesome.
So you do obviously a lot of this sort of battling in the game. Is there like a sort of like a design that you would like to see like implemented in the future that you haven't come across yet?
Like design from a boss?
Yeah, like a mechanic, or just really is a very open question. So
something we talked about this kind of funny in Discord the other day, is it feels like for the most part healing is struggling to be relevant in Brave Exvius just as a whole. So I would like some global exclusive Clash bosses to find a way to make healing vital. I know Clash, some of the bosses have done things like healing % down, and that helps a little bit, but you can still, for the most part, just heal your party with 1 or 2 casts. I would like something like a flat healing reduction down, like 20,000. So any heals under like 20, as an example, 20,000 would be taken off, and anything over would overflow into actual healing. That way it kind of shuts down all the like tertiary healing, like regeneration, counter healing, small heals from a DPS unit, and give us like the really meta relevant healers that can actually do their job of healing. That for me would be a new mechanic that would be nice. They kind of deal with the healing % down, but it's more of a stumbling block than an actual force you to use a healer.
Interesting. I like that. I always play healers in games myself, so I like that answer. Make healing matter. Cool. Did you have any other questions, Tony? Clash of Wills stuff?
No. No questions. But I just know that the community's always been talking about like the Clash of Wills like rewards. That's something that has been brought up multiple times. So this is another thing that chat everybody that we may be able to talk about in the next week's update live stream. So make sure you tune into that as well.
Oh, that sounds like a good thing, I guess.
Fingers crossed.
Cool. So if anybody out there had any impressions from a boss during the year, let us know. That would be cool. So yeah. But right. I guess maybe we'll talk about some more stuff coming up next week, I guess.
Yes.
Cool.
All right. Right. Let's go. Should we move on to the next section then?
Cool. Yeah.
All right.
What do we got here?
Right. So So this is a event recap of what happened this year. Just real quick, in January, we had the Unit Popularity Poll 2023. March, we had the story event, like I mentioned earlier, the Dark Lineage and the Leader skills introduced. So it was like a big month in January, in March. In June, there was the LA fan event and the 7th anniversary. In September, October, another Unit Popularity Poll, Part 1 and 2. In November, we had Black Friday, where Hyo joined us as well. So yeah. So anything that was the most memorable for you, Justin and Sinzar?
I guess Sinzar, you can go first if you would like, if there's anything that stood out to you.
For me, I'm going to kind of break the rules a little bit again and go a little bit further back. But one of the community events that I thought was a really cool idea, it's only been done once, was the virtual fan meetup, where it was only invite only. I actually was not selected for the invite, so I didn't get to participate, but I heard about it. I thought it was a really awesome idea where fans do like a virtual visit and discussion with like the global team. I thought that was a really awesome idea, and I'd love to see that like expanded on, maybe done in the future, maybe made a bigger gathering instead of such a small amount. I thought it was a really cool idea, and they can get more contact with the global team. It seemed really cool.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
That was interesting. That was I don't really know how to describe that event other than interesting. It was just kind of funny because like everybody sort of like loaded in outside, and then they had to like walk over to, there was like different rooms, and they had to like walk over to like there was like a speech room, and then there was like some like conference rooms where people could like ask questions more like individually. It was certainly interesting. But yeah, so I guess in regards to that, for myself, it was the in-person fan meeting that we had this year. Tony was there as well. Maybe he can share his own thoughts. Yes. But it was an interesting weekend. There was a lot of, there was only maybe about, I think 70 players or so that showed up. There's obviously a lot more people that are online. But like, I don't think people really realize how much work went into that event, even on that day. Like we were scheduled to show up and sort of break everything out. I think we got there at maybe 9 a.m. or something. And none of us left that building until like after midnight. We were there from like 9 a.m. until after midnight. And then we had to come back the next day at like 10 a.m. and then do the actual event and the live stream and everything like that. So it was a rough weekend for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yes. And plus, like, I think I still had like jet lag as well.
That's true.
Like, well, I mean, like, of course, like Hiroki-san as well. But like, I think we were kind of like, trying to battle like our jet lag as well. And then, but it was fun. It was definitely my highlight of this year as well. Finally, to meet. It was my first like live stream in front of an audience, and also like my first time doing a fan event with the actual fans there. It was great to meet all the fans. So the experience just was wonderful, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I was really thankful for everybody that was there. But yeah, it was a very, very tough weekend.
Yeah, it was action packed because like the day before that we had a live stream with Addison Ray at a different venue, and then on Saturday we had the setup, and then I think on Sunday was the event, and then on Monday we had like a separate live stream in the office for something else. So I feel bad for you and like the rest of the team that showed up and was like nonstop while being jet lagged. But yeah.
But it was worth it. It was worth it. And then like Sinzar said, if we could do something like what would like maybe even like hybrid or like some kind of like fan event or fan gathering or some kind of event next year as well, that would be great. Even like on offline, and then if fans could get to talk to like the development team or like the other members from like the designer team as well. So that'll be really interesting as well.
Yeah, that would be. So Sinzar, sorry, is there anything from this year specifically that maybe stood out to you?
Probably, I guess, it's kind of the same vein is the player feedback survey that they hosted. I think it was on their Twitter account, maybe.
Yes.
The big survey asking what's your favorite content, what do you want to see more of, what are you not enjoying so much. Again, for me, it's just it's just interaction with the community is a really big deal for me. So when they sent out that feedback asking for, or that survey asking for feedback, I was really pleased. I was so happy to fill it out. I suggested to everyone else, please fill it out as well.
Yes.
Send in your thoughts. That can help them make the game better. And yeah, that was this year. So I was really happy when they did that.
For sure. Cool.
Yes, I remember because instantly we got like hundreds of like forms, and so yeah, it was memorable, and like it was really good to see that like we have so many passionate like players, and so yeah, and obviously we take a look at everything, and then yeah, that's something that we would like to continue going forward as well. So thank you, Sinzar.
Cool. So I hope everybody had their own maybe standout event from this year. Maybe even if it's not on the list, feel free to share what your favorite time of the year was. But in the meantime,
all right, yeah, let's move on to the next section then.
Cool. Let's take.
All right, which is the 2023.
Oh, I guess we have pictures here. The
we
fan
have
event.
pictures.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
That was my bad.
Yeah. Oh, so like it's really hard to see. I should maybe stand up, but I'm wearing the T-shirt from the actual the event.
Nice.
I have a pin too from the community.
Cool. Yeah, there's all the room down there in the bottom right. So there's a bunch of people there. It was very fun.
Oh yeah, and then we had like the visuals for the dark lineage as well, and that's where we had like the design sketch as well, which I was like mentioning earlier. We had the T-shirts. Oh yeah, but Justin, yeah, like I remember it was a tough day for you too because it was like back and back with, like the War of the Visions fan event as well, right?
Oh yeah, because we had that right afterwards. So like everybody kind of shuffled out, and then the new people came in, and then we did the next event. But yeah. So next up, we've got player statistics.
Yep. So we have compiled various user data such as which summon was most pulled in 2023, which unit was utilized most in Clash of Wills. So let's take a look.
Cool. First up, we've got...
So first up, so this is like just the player breakdown map where people are playing the game. So as you can see in the map, we have players all across the world, which we really appreciate. But I guess not surprisingly, but like United States on the top, but we have a lot of like Asian country as well: Taiwan, Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia, and then we have France, Mexico, Korea, Brazil, and Germany. So yeah, Chad, let us know where you're joining in to this live stream. Yeah.
We asked Sinzar sort of like in our setup process if his views matched up with this list, and I think he said it was surprisingly close.
Yeah, the viewers of my YouTube channel, YouTube keeps track of where they're viewing from, and yeah, it was very similar to this top 10 list. I was surprised. It's a page I don't view too often on YouTube. I went and looked at it. I'm like, oh wow, this is
that's cool.
Very similar to what this list looks like.
All right, what do we got here? So, is there any? I mean, I guess this is kind of a weird question, but is there any like country that maybe you expected to see or didn't expect to see on the list?
Well, there's definitely a British player that is not doing what he should to spread Brave Exvius in his area. Didn't make the top 10, so.
I guess you can kind of tell it's slightly less dark than France, I guess. So do that, please. But yeah, Canada's not on the list either. So we were discussing internally if maybe it was like the data was combined with the US. We're not actually sure, but Canada gets a shout out, of course. All right. So, and I guess just, in Taiwan shows up as number 2. Probably not a ton of English speakers over there. So, a lot of maybe the English speaking side of the global community isn't really aware of the Taiwanese players. Although there, of course, you can see their names in game and everything like that. But yeah.
In the comments too, I see a lot of players from the Philippines as well.
Yes. So a very global game, which I like to see. Everybody around the world. Yeah. What do you think the graph would look like in Japan, Tony?
What do you mean? Like
very dark purple Japan and very light blue everywhere else. It was just
oh yeah,
it was just a small
okay. Yeah, okay. Yes, obviously.
All right, cool. So next up, what do we have here?
All right. So this is the player rank breakdown. So as you can see, we have about, I guess it's kind of like evenly split. Rank until 50 is the highest with the 25.8%, followed by 151 to 221.1%, where I would fall in. And then the 201 to 250 next is the 20.8%. And then, 101 to 150, 16.2%, and 51 to 115.9%. And the top of the top, we have the 251 to 300%, not even a percent, like 0.21%. And then from 301 to 350, we have 0.02%.
What's interesting is our notes say 0.01%, but the graph says 0.02. So maybe it's like sort of in between and like the graph rounded it up or something.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, between 0.01 and 0.02% of people are between 301 and 350, which is not a lot.
Yeah, the top end is really, really slow to get to. So, maybe something that the global team could do is add some events that just have really high, like, rank EXP to make it, more of a wide distribution, make it a little bit easier to hit those, like, 300, rank 350. Be kind of fun.
Yeah. Also, one thing that I wanted to point out here that I think is interesting, and we'll share this statistic a little bit later, is everybody that's under rank 50 is probably semi-newish to the game, and that makes up 25% of the player base. And we have some other stats later, so there's a lot of fresh faces in FFBE.
Yeah, so if you're a new player joining us today, make sure you check out. There's really a lot of like helpful sites and like Reddit community and Discord as well. Make sure you check out Sinzar's videos and other streamers and YouTubers as well. But those are one place to start for tips and guides as well.
For sure. Cool. So yeah, a lot of 200s there in chat, but we have some other like player statistics as well. I was just going to mention.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll get to those. That's all I was trying to say. Cool. Should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, I guess we could do that. Let's do that.
All right, playing history.
Playing history is here. So, what I can see from here is the highest is the 29% from 2017 January to 2018 December, and then followed by 2023 January, so 22%. So like Justin was saying, so these are the new players, and then the 2000 fall, and then again followed by 2016 June to 2016 December, 21%, 2019 January to 2020 December, 19%, and finally 2021 January to 2022 December, the 9%. So yeah, we have players that are been with us from like day one, 2016, 2017, make up half. So thank you so much for sticking around all these years. So yeah, which is really surprising, makes like half of and we have 22% of our new players. So I think it's a really well balanced graph that we're seeing here.
I think the graph sort of cut off because in our notes it says 2016 June through 2016 December. So there's about 6 months there for the first slice, and then it moves on. The other slices are basically 2 years each. So I know it may be a little confusing to look at, but yeah. Hopefully that makes sense.
Okay, no, it makes sense. Sinzar, where would you fall in this graph?
For me, I am in the day one players. I've been here since the start. So the
Mm-hmm.
2016 players, that's me in the 21%. I'm actually surprised that the ratio of the split here is pretty even.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have expected that. It's kind of surprising to say. It's nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think the game globally has hit over like 45 million downloads or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously all those people trickling in over the almost decade kind of split up evenly. But yeah, so myself, I would fall into my very first time that I started playing, I got the Katy Perry unit. It was around January 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was myself, and then I started working at Square Enix about a year later.
A little bit of Justin's history there.
Yeah.
I was playing the Japanese version first, but like I started playing the global version, of course, once they joined the team. So I guess I fall under the 2000, so the 9%.
Oh, okay. Not bad, not bad.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the minority there.
I am in the minority though.
Cool. So next up, let's see here. I think we have the top summons we could get into.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's take a look at that.
That sounds exciting. I wonder if people could guess what the top summon of the year is. I kind of spoiled it there.
Oh, thanks, Justin.
Oh no, I didn't. I thought there was gonna be like a buffer screen. So nobody look. Let's hear your guesses.
All right.
Before the spoiler, I would have personally probably said Richt, because anniversary people usually have more resources on hand, and he was, like I said earlier, a really well-designed unit. So my pick would have been Richt, but apparently I picked wrong.
All right, well, the cat's out of the bag here, so let's just move forward.
Yes. And FYI, these are based on numbers up to October this year.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So I guess this is
pretty
not
close, though.
Like this is on the actual banner and not like amount pulled, I guess, if that makes sense. There's a distinction there, I suppose, that should be made. But yeah, so would you have guessed these top three, Sinzar?
These top three, I definitely would have said, will be among the top, because these are units that are good in, maybe not so much Elena, but like Ibarra and Rain are good both in Dark Visions and Clash of Wills. So they have, those multifunction, and I can definitely see why they're so top. I wouldn't have picked Elena as the top one, just as a guess, but I can certainly understand it, because she was always popular since her first release, and she's a popular unit all around. And her unit is decent. Maybe not the best, but definitely worth pulling for.
Interesting. So yeah, I guess she's the most popular, right? So I guess that sort of makes sense. I guess it's sort of the mobile gamer's dilemma. Do you pull for somebody you like, or do you pull for somebody that's strong?
For sure.
I'm happy to see Ibarra there. Ibarra is definitely my favorite this year. So
yeah, she was very popular and sort of kicked things off, I guess. So part of her popularity.
Right, I guess. And then, like I said, this stats excludes Shield, because it's only up until October. So next year, let's see if Shield makes his way up in the rankings.
Oh, okay. Only until October. All right. Makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, it says it down there in the corner.
But I guess sorry, I think maybe Sinzar briefly mentioned, but like I guess I was surprised like Richt wasn't there, because like it was one of like our biggest like anniversary unit, like the biggest unit, like kind of like a surprise unit this year. So yeah, like Sinzar, were you kind of surprised he was in the ranking as well?
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Especially because he had the story event, which I would just assume would make them, more desirable because people, get more
Hmm.
exposure. But I
Hmm.
suppose the reason would have to be because Elena's at the top, and if everyone pulled for Elena, they came out at the
Hmm.
exact same time. They just had nothing left over for Rick, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know the rest of the ranking right now, but I'm also surprised Aya was in. Well, maybe not the top three, but like yeah, I'm sure she'll be up there as well. But
Our notes
I
say it
guess.
was not included in the rankings.
Oh, okay.
So that explains that one.
Hmm. Understood.
So yeah, it would be interesting to see where she would have landed, but
Uh-huh.
I guess for another time. Cool. Next up,
All right.
we've got,
Okay.
what do we got?
We got the player data. For oh yeah, the Clash of Wales most popular units.
All right. So
So
let's take a
from
look.
top 10 to 6. Let me just go over it real quickly then.
Okay.
From top 10 to top 1. So top 10, the Flaring Ether Rain. 9, we got Abigail. 8th, we got Kiko. And 7th, we got Elena. 6th, Esther. Number 5, Chizuru. Number 4, Kaito. Number 3, Ibarra. Number 2, 2B, Neon Vision. And number 1, Sylvie. I guess no surprise here too, Sinzar? Or did any of these units kind of surprise you?
No, this list is about as expected. There's a few things that are a little surprising. For example, Chizuru and Tsukiko. While both of them are absolutely amazing units, they're a little bit older, and I would have figured if we're taking only this year, we wouldn't see them so represented even today. But I guess people are still using them, and they're still good units. They're just,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, a little bit outdated. I'll
Mm-hmm.
say the one I am very shocked is not on this list is
Mm-hmm.
Melissa. I'm really surprised
Mm.
Melissa is not here because I feel like she's in like almost every Clash of Wills these days.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a little shocked that we don't see her. But the rest of them, I mean, pretty expected. Sylvie is absolutely amazing. 2B, I mean, the near collaboration was so hyped. Everyone pulled for 2B, and she's
Mm-hmm.
stood the test of time. Still a really good unit.
Yep.
Ibarra, same thing. Great unit. Kaito is really good utility. So not too surprising. Tsukiko and Chizuru still today. I'm a little surprised at, but understand it.
For sure.
I saw a comment in the chat as well that they're surprised Melissa's not there. So, but this is the most popular units from our players. So, if you're not using Melissa, it might be a good time to use Melissa on your Clash of Wills.
Yeah, let's see her on the list next year.
Right? Yeah, they're like, oh, we've been missing out.
Yeah, pretty much. Cool. So let's see here. We got some numbers here. How many people use Paladin Sylvie? Do we have that number, Tony?
Yes. Let me look at my notes here.
Sinzar, do you know how many times are you looking at the information there? Could you guess how many times she was used?
Ooh, I couldn't tell you a number, maybe like a percentage. I would say Sylvie 60% of clears.
We don't have the percent. We do have
actual
the number though, yeah.
100,000.
That's actually a pretty good guess. No, that's actually a really good guess.
Okay, nice.
Yes, it's actually 116,347 times.
I was pretty close.
So you are very close.
Cool, yeah, well done.
So Sinzar, do you use any which units do you use or are your top pick?
From this list, Elena or Abigail definitely are always coming if it's a magical tank fight, and most Clash of Wills tended to be magical tanks, so always Elena or Abigail, one of the two, every single time. Kaito has seen quite a bit of use lately. Maybe not so much earlier in the year, but the recent bosses have been either one of his killer races or with his recent upgrades that made him really good with the field. He's been useful for that the last two Clash of Wills. Some of them not so much, like 2B, as good as she still is. I would call her more of like the budget option these days, just because newer units have kind of crept her a little bit. She's still good and all. It's just I personally, have the new best thing, which kind of replaces her a little bit. But Ffbe, honestly, I'm finding again. This is why I'm so surprised. I'm finding I use Melissa more than Ffbe in Clash of Wills these days.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe she's like just more of the budget option because people just have her already, so they still use her.
The data is only until October, so it's a couple months.
Oh, okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So next up, sort of related,
Mm-hmm.
but we have the most equipped vision cards for Clash of Wills here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got number 5, we got Battle with Ethne. Number 4, Near Automata. Number 3, My Own Worst Enemy. Number 2, A Happy Family. Number 1, Always Watching Over Me. Any surprises here? You said it was interesting. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, I guess, maybe a flaw of myself is I kind of like laser focus at the top end. So, and this is, when I take a step back and think that we're talking the whole player base,
Yes.
these are like more widely available cards. Like Always Watching Over Me, I would assume it's made number 1 because of the morale fill, and it's probably the cheapest morale fill card. But not the best one. So like, for players at the top end, they're maybe going to use like Wilkes card instead of Always Watching Over Me. That's a premium card. It's a little bit more expensive, so maybe less available. So it makes sense why this is the way it is. Again, Happy Family is very often recommended to new players to choose with their vision card select tokens that they get as a new player, because it's a good card. It's it's a budget card, but it's a good card with Omni Killer for Brave Exvius units, etc. So I can definitely see why these are more widespread for the general player base.
Yeah, good insight.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people in chat sort of agree with you as well. They're sort of agreeing as you were saying that.
And it's definitely tied with like the most used units as well. For those who are not don't know, like the Always Watching Over Me is for Ffbe, A Happy Family for Chizuru, My Own Worst Enemy is Esther, Near Automata to be A2, and Battle with Ethne is for Elena. But yeah, so pretty much ties up with like the most used units as well.
Cool.
Any other vision cards that is your go-to, Sinzar?
For me, it would be, for the damage dealers, these days we mostly just match them to whatever their element card is, like the I'm not good on the name of the cards, but like the Miasma card for fire units, the Magitech card for ice units, stuff like that. For general utility cards, especially in Clash of Wills, like the one I mentioned, Ancient Draconic Power is Wilkes card. It's basically just Always Watching Over Me, but better. So I personally tend to go for that one for morale fill. And then another one is Melissa's card, something about her home, being home. I forget the exact name. It's basically Sylvie's card, but better. Once again, it's morale fill per turn. That's really good in Clash of Wills. Anytime you've got an open vision card slot on a non-required unit, like a support unit, you want to stick either Wilkes or Melissa's card, or like, for more budget options, Always Watching Over Me to get that free morale per turn.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. So,
all right.
Yeah, in the same vein of stuff, I guess we've got the most used equipment.
All right, let's check that out. All right, so this.
Go ahead.
Let me just go over that. Yep. All right, so from number 5, the Riser's Crown. Number 4, Flower of Reunion, from Final Fantasy VII Remake. Number 3, Sylvie's Sword. Number 2, Honor of Grand Shelf. Number 1, Crescent Moon Charm FF7 Remake.
This list, once again, is very surprising to me. I got to be honest here.
How so?
It's, again, for the most part, I can understand some of them, like Sylvie's Sword. If Sylvie's the most unit, she always uses her sword. That makes sense. Riser's Crown is a really high attack power crown. It was given for free from Golden Riser. That makes sense. But like Flower of Reunion, it's a little strange to me. I don't really I don't really see the reason. And of course, I do realize that one was given for free like 2 years ago when they gave out Aerith up to EX2 for free. So maybe that's the reason, but I would recommend just, as a tip to players that are maybe still using Flower of Reunion, there's better options out there if you have the access to them.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good advice. And I think, you sort of mentioned this earlier, but, there's a lot more people playing this game than what maybe you think, like, than you see on Discord or like somewhere else. So this list sort of represents everybody that's playing the game.
Exactly.
So, yeah. A lot of these players are new. Maybe they got a free Aerith and just use that forever or whatever. So, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So is there any particular item that you thought for sure would be on this list? Some people in chat are sort of surprised that there's no like Clash gear on here.
Yeah, like the Clash gear. But again, I guess I have to kind of just, manage my expectations that not as many players as I thought have the Clash gear, which does require, at least clearing Clash of Wills or ranking somewhat to craft it, which maybe, not as many players as I thought are doing. But other stuff like, the Crescent Moon Charm, it's a high attack power accessory, but, as a tip, if you have access to it, maybe it's time to upgrade to Dark Knight Pain's STMR, which is just the same thing, but better, for in general, stuff like that.
Yeah. It's interesting. FF7 is obviously extremely popular, so I think there's sort of no surprise that it's on the list here.
Definitely.
Yeah. Cool. What do we got next?
All right, let's check what's next. I think this is what you were talking about a little bit earlier, Justin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is the Clash of Wills level 99 bosses that was most cleared, and then from the Clash of Wills boss from January, Heir of Unknown Origin was the one that was cleared the most. And also, Sinzar, you said this one. Sorry.
I was going to say, it looks like it was cleared at 93%, which is a very high number.
Oh yeah, 93%.
Yes. That's kind of surprising to me because, like I said, this one had the mechanic where he ejects your whole party. I would have just, as an assumption, I would have assumed that, players that don't take Clash of Wills all that seriously may have got like their whole party ejected, then they come back, their buffs have worn off, and they've died. And I'd figured maybe this one is one of the more challenging ones, but I guess not.
So do you have a guess maybe what the least cleared was?
The least cleared one, if I had to guess, I would probably say Anthemosa, the songstress, the one I was talking about earlier that had the questionable design with the status ailments and all. So I would assume that one probably the least cleared, if I had to pick a guess.
All right, well, let's see here. I just want to make sure there's no like spoilers or anything, so give me a second here. Actually, we don't have a slide for it, do we? Let me see.
I don't think we have a slide for it.
No, we don't. But yeah, so Tony, you want to reveal that?
Yes, the least defeated Clash of Wills boss was from February, and it was the Moth of Unknown.
The Salicha Moth?
Yes. Salicha Moth, where the month that Abigail came out.
So he was... That's very surprising to me. The least clear. I mean, I guess thinking about it, it makes a little bit of sense because that one had the 10 stack Mirage on a threshold. And again, I would assume like players go in there, they burst, they hit the threshold, they get a 10 stack Mirage. They're maybe not aware of ways to get rid of it. I think it was actually undispellable too, by memory. So maybe they went in there, they attacked like 8 times. It all just kept missing, and they just get frustrated and give up, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Suppose.
At a macro level, sometimes you have to like. Maybe a lot of people were just busy with like school. I know February probably isn't that, but love was in the air, and people were sort of doing stuff in real life. They didn't have time to clear a boss or something. I don't know.
But yeah, that was the one.
Interesting.
Salicha Moth. Yep.
Cool. We got a few more things to go over here on today's live stream. So next up here, we've got, what do we got?
The social media posts?
Yes.
All right.
All right. So I just want to make sure there's no spoilers here. So I want to see what we have. Which social media posts got the most reactions? I know a lot of people probably don't like remember every single social media post over the years. So
yes. So this is based on Facebook, X, and Instagram metrics, and it excludes like the milestone like campaigns and stuff.
Okay, that's smart.
So it's just it's just like a social media post. I think this is like difficult, but
this is too hard of a question. So let's just show the answer here.
Okay, let's just do that.
Ta-da! All right, so Parasite.
So this was wildly popular. It had over like I think it says 1,749 reactions, but like we had 2 wallpapers distributed. So like in total, and we had like over like 3,000 posts, making it the most one with the most reactions, like the most like reach and everything. Yeah, crazy good reviews. Sinzar, were you able to get like a wallpaper for this? Or
I didn't get this wallpaper. I did see it. I thought it was really cool art.
Okay.
And I can certainly understand why they why people like this one. You know, the collaboration. Like I said, it was a really popular game. People were really hyped to see the collaboration and all. So maybe in the future, more collaborations.
Yes, we're hoping that as well. And then like going forward as well, whenever we do these collaborations, we would like to give out these like wallpapers as well, because I know that promo team were working really hard on getting this wallpaper right, and then they were really happy when it actually happened, and our fans loved it. So, and then number 2, the Stormseeker Esther artworks on Instagram. This is what I was talking about, but like this was at the LA fan event as well. Like there was like a
Oh yeah. So yeah, I guess that's what we were talking about. So that's what was like hanging up on the wall.
Exactly. Yes. So we had that for Esther, Wilk, Rich, Elena. Yeah, I think for 4 characters.
Yeah, very nice. Very cool. Cool. So let's see here. Are you a big follower of the official social media, Sinzar? It's okay if you're not. You can say that.
I don't use social media that much, but there is a bot in the Discord that repost all the social media, and I've noticed recently that they're posting a whole bunch more of like fun stuff like quizzes, guess who this unit is, stuff like that, and that's really cool. I'll click those and check them out, and it's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Praise the Discord bots. They do their jobs very well.
Yes, and that's really, really glad to hear, because like that's something that like I work on as well with like obviously other like the promo members and like the other Gumi members as well. But like we definitely want to make like the social media more interesting. So yeah, I hope everybody likes it. We're doing a lot of like around like summer or a little bit after summer, we started posting like bunch of like short videos as well, like the one that Sinzar said as well, like those like silhouette kind of quiz was this. So like those are gonna keep coming. So hope you all enjoy those social media posts as well, and let us know in the comments what you guys want to see going forward as well.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah, is that it for our the social media part?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that sort of wraps up all of our player data. So hopefully you guys are able to learn some interesting stuff from that. Next year we will definitely be back with some more as well. And if there's any data that you would like to see, maybe on another version of the live stream, you could drop that in the chat as well. Maybe we could get that statistic ready. But yeah, so next up, we've got questions for Sinzar here. So if you have any questions for Sinzar, he makes YouTube videos and that sort of stuff, feel free to drop them in the chat. We're not going to take anything that's personal or like not off topic or anything like that. So just keep it on brand here. Keep it related to YouTube, FFBE, that sort of stuff. And yeah, see if Sinzar can answer a couple of them. I guess maybe while we're waiting, Sinzar, are you hoping for? Can you make any guesses about maybe what's coming out next week or what we're revealing on the stream next week or anything like that?
Well, you know, for predictions for next week, I personally play the JP server as well, so I would just go, you know, the next in line as expected would probably be
That's
part
cheating.
2 of Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy Tactics Orlando would be my assumption.
Cool.
But yes, what I'm more interested in is the global unit for Christmas. I'm very much looking forward to that.
Any guesses? If that is a thing, I have to add that clarification.
Let's see. Who someone I would hope for is a unit that I really love the sprite for is Eldrin. And Eldrin maybe wasn't as good as we were hoping when he came out, so maybe they could do something to revive him, either enhancements, crowns, or just a whole new version.
Okay.
Be nice.
All right, I like that. Well, I guess we'll see what happens. So stay tuned. We have a live stream coming up. We've got some questions here. Tony, did you manage to grab any?
I got one. What kind of changes would you like to see for Elespris?
Changes I would see for Elespris. It may be unbalanced in the whole scope of the game, but in the past we've had a bunch of units that had 90% defense and spirit breaks from global, like, you know, Olive, Louise, etc. And we've kind of moved away from that. So it'd be nice to give her, you know, that niche on global of the 90% breaker outside of Clash of Wills. So that for me would be really nice. Also, I would increase her damage slightly. You know, she doesn't have to deal the same damage as Hayo or anything, but at the current time, her damage is almost non-existent. So I would like to see her do more than she currently does.
Awesome. Thank you for your feedback. I got another question. Most memorable summon, good or bad?
Most memorable summon. I guess that would have to be. I have to think about this for a moment. I do know.
Oh yeah.
I do know on the JP server, I did a 3-hour summon video for Vaughn, and that was a nightmare. No, Kuja. Either Vaughn or Kuja. It was, I guess maybe it's not as memorable as I thought. It was one of those two. I pulled for both of them, and both of them went poorly. But one of them was a 3-hour video, and like it was Kuja, because I got 8 off-banner garlands before getting 1 Kuja. That's what it was, and it was horrible. It was horrible. On global, probably the one I reference most often is the Tyvus pulls. It went really poorly for me on global. I got like the minimum amount of Neos. All the ones that I got were guaranteed. They were off banners, and they were just, you know, outdated Neos, and they weren't that good. As far as good summons, by far Richt for Anniversary. I pulled for Richt. I did his step up, and I got EX3 within a week. I was raining Ricks for me. It was amazing, amazing.
Awesome.
Got so many Ricks.
That's cool. And a unit that you like too, from the sounds of it. So that's good. All right. Any other questions? You find any others, Tony?
I'm still looking for something.
I saw a question. What sort of content makes you want to keep playing FFBE, and then what content do you want to see more of in the future?
For me, it's definitely the challenging content by far. Trials, hard content, stuff like that. Anything that's challenging in a fun way is really good for me because I enjoy it. It's also good for me as a content creator because, you know, it's interesting videos to make for the community. So that kind of stuff is really great. overall, we've kind of gotten away from some of the older style content like Chamber of the Fallen, Chamber of Arms, Chamber of Vengeance, series boss battles. We don't really have those that much these days. I know the JP server is mostly the reason for that, is they haven't done them either. But I would love to see if Global could like reinvigorate Chamber of Vengeance, or something as simple as like they did for Sephiroth, the series boss battle update for the Neovisions era. That was fantastic. I love that they did that. And it would just make me over the moon if they could bring more series boss battles that are updated for the Neo era. You know, it's just a lot of content that would be really fun for the player base as a whole.
Cool.
Cool.
I guess
I got
yeah. Go ahead.
No, your favorite girl/female character?
Favorite female character?
Waifu. You're a waifu.
In terms of like story, it would probably be Water Veritas of the, or people always correct me, Veritas of the Waters would be my favorite in terms of story. Not so much as like a usable unit, but her story was really, really, I loved it. Like the insane tyrant. I think they called her the Water Tyrant in season 1, and her story was great. As far as terms of unit to use, I mean, it's a little bit of a cliche answer, but Mastermind Zahn was always great to use. He enabled a lot of outside the box strategies, and I really missed that. And then again, he does still pop up every now and then, even today, on like a viable dark vision strategy. But you know, I really enjoyed Mastermind Zahn's kit. It was interesting. It was unique. No one else did anything like that in the game. To this day, no one still does, and it'd be great if we could, you know, see more of that in the future.
Cool. Thank you. Maybe one more question. One last question.
Do you have a question?
All right. Yeah, I had one here.
Okay.
Question: what improvements should be done to possible future hidden boss battles like the recent one? And this is one for the kill, but.
Oh, you mean from the story event where the solitary warrior of the frost, and they upgraded to the harder version?
Yes.
Yeah, that one. You know, I wasn't really too impressed with it because it felt like it was a little bit too easy. It wasn't very challenging. You know, it died in a turn one kill as soon as the mitigation dropped. So I would certainly much rather that kind of content be maybe not on the level of intricacy as Tel Fusanis or something, but I mean, if we could, that'd be great. But just certainly a little bit more challenging than what it was, especially if it's going to be content for no reward at all. So therefore, if players are maybe kind of like blocked from being able to beat it, the majority of players, they're not really missing anything. So I feel like that's kind of like the free hand to go wild on challenge. Make it as hard as you want, give it really, really hard fight for us, you know, no reward, so therefore no one can be upset about missing out on it, but make it a really hard challenge for, you know, veteran players, give them something to do, be really fun.
Awesome.
Challenging
Yeah,
content. That's what I'm hearing.
That sounds good to me. All right. Yeah. Thank you. And then I think that's it for that's all the questions I see right now, Justin.
Yeah. Cool. No other questions from me. So thank you, Sinzar, for taking the time to answer those questions from the community. There's, of course, some others, but, you know, he's got a YouTube channel. Maybe you could go leave them in his video comments or something. But yeah. So I think that's actually coming towards the end of the stream here.
Yeah, I think we're wrapping up now. And then... So yeah, chat, let us know. So obviously we did like a different style of live stream this time with our special guest Sinzar. We went over the activities, all the units from 2023. Hope you all had a great time. We surely did. Yeah, let us know what you guys thought.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see here. I guess.
So Justin, you're gonna set up like a survey, or?
I guess that would be somebody else here. Let me double check.
All right. Okay, I'm seeing top 10. I'm just gonna read some comments right now. Top 20 of popularity polls. Okay. All right. Yeah, I do apologize. We haven't been able to release that yet. So, and then at this time, at this point, I was like, oh, maybe it's it's too late. But yes, we'll try to get those top 20 results for the popularity polls.
Okay.
Please continue doing these streams. Thank you for the comment.
We're getting the survey set up right now.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But we're getting a lot of positive feedback. Someone's like, you should make Sinzar eat wasabi or something. Sinzar, have you ever tried wasabi?
I'm a big fan of sushi, and they always put that green paste on the sushi platter when you order it. And for me, that is immediately into the trash can. No wasabi. I don't want anything super spicy like that. That ruins the sushi.
Okay. What kind of sushi? Or I guess like fish do you like on your sushi?
My favorite, there's actually a restaurant called Little Tokyo in the area.
Okay.
They call it nigiri sushi. I don't know if that's like an Americanized version of sushi, but that's what I order. It's like a little sampling platter of a bunch of different versions. My favorite is the one with the eel. The oh god, what do they call it? Unagi, I think they call it.
Oh yeah, the eel, yes. Unagi, yes.
It's really good. I really like that.
Eel, yeah, yum.
Justin's very, very picky with his food. FYI.
I can tell you right now, I would never eat eel in my entire life, even if
it's good. It really is good.
It has like a little bit of like a sweet sauce and. Oh, I think the survey is out now.
Yeah, survey's up.
Okay. So yes, so all that you.
This isn't scientific or anything, but please leave your votes up there on the Twitch stream. That would be great.
All right, that would really help us out. And then yeah, like depending on the results, maybe we could do more of these next year.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be interesting to come back and review, like what's changed. Paladin Sylvie's still going to be at the top for COW.
That's true.
Maybe.
Melissa definitely will make her way up there.
Oh yes, especially now that we talked about it. So. Sinzar will mention her in every video. Let's get her on the top list. Cool. I've actually tried wasabi once myself because I didn't know what it was. I just kind of put it in my mouth. It burned very intensely for probably about 20 seconds, and then the pain went away. But we actually have 2 questions. So as soon as this one's done, just wait, and then there will be another question after that.
All right. Should we just give it like another?
I think it sort of runs out on its own.
Oh, okay.
So I think there's I have no idea. The bar is at the last 10%, so
okay,
it's counting down.
All right. So like Justin said, we'll have one more survey or like poll.
But yeah, so let's see. Oh, 85% satisfied. Look at that. That's good to see.
Very nice. Very nice.
Very nice.
But yeah, so I don't really have much to say about that. I was going to say something and then I kind of lost my train of thought. But that's 85%.
Would you ever try it again?
Voting for Sinzar. Oh, for wasabi?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
For what reason? Like, what do you generally put wasabi on? Other than sushi? Anything? Does it go on anything?
Yeah, Japanese people put it on steak.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, not always, but like some people do. Because like, kind of is like, swap it out for like mustard.
They put it on
Do
peas,
people put
too.
mustard on a steak? That sounds
Sorry,
a
what was
little
that,
weird to
Sinzar?
me. Anyway.
I was gonna say wasabi peas are a thing, at least in my area as well. You can get them like in the grocery store, like dried peas coated in wasabi. I see that pretty often.
Well, I like that.
Yes, somebody mentioned horseradish. That is something that I find a sin against humanity as well. So.
No, but it tastes. It has a similar taste.
All right, so cool. If we could get the second one, I think he's probably working on putting it up here right now.
Okay, perfect. I'm glad people were satisfied.
A monthly basis might be kind of hard. A monthly basis is a little intense for these live streams, but
live streams, yeah,
I would say because we have the updates live streams as well, so that would be 2 streams a month. That's quite a lot. Meanwhile, there's some people that stream every single day, but yeah.
That's true. But once in a few months,
maybe
will be nice.
We could see.
Sinzar, I hope that you had fun joining with us today.
Oh, for sure. It was a lot of fun. I mean, we got to talk about the whole year of Brave Exvius, got to interact with, the community team. It was definitely really fun. And I am very happy that I got the invite. And if you do these in the future, it'd be interesting to see who else y'all get to come on, because we got some more community streamers, YouTubers, content guides, etc. that would be really interesting to see on here. And I could sit back and watch and hear their opinions. It'd be great if y'all did more of these in the future. It can't be every month, but whenever y'all can.
All right, so the second survey is already over. That was a quick one.
Okay, that was a quick one.
But we got some data there, I guess.
All right, we'll take that back, and then we'll take your advice as well, Sinzar. And in the future too, we'll love to continue inviting contents, and then like Justin said, it will be interesting to do like another recap of like the year, to see like the difference. So
the survey's
it's back. Okay, so but yeah, basically I was gonna say, Sinzar, we would love to have you back again.
Would be fun.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw a lot of people sort of guessing or discussing this live stream on Reddit and stuff. So we'll give Sinzar a chance here to say his goodbyes and everything like that. So
sure.
Just give us a moment until the survey ends, about halfway through. So the survey is currently up right now, so just get your votes in. We're currently way over the amount of votes that we had last time. So. It's interesting that more people want to see content creators than devs. We had, like I mentioned sort of during a setup, we had a live stream for War of the Visions where we brought on like the story team, and we were sort of discussing what went into like making some of the story and thought processes and that sort of stuff, and it was pretty insightful.
Oh, I think the survey ended.
Yep, looks like we're at majority invite other content creators, so we will take note of that.
For sure, there's a whole bunch of people that really passionate about Brave Exvius would love to come on and chat, etc.
Indeed. Cool. So thank you guys very much for doing that. And thank you very much for joining our live stream today, Sinzar. And everybody out there, thank you very much for tuning in. Before we close out, though, I just wanted Sinzar to maybe say goodbye to everybody in whichever way you would like to, of course.
All right. Well, see you guys later, guys and girls, and everyone, from Discord, YouTube, Reddit, Facebook, all the various communities for Brave Exvius. I chat on multiple platforms every single day about Brave Exvius. So thanks again for playing and enjoying the game.
We'll probably get your link in chat here in a second. But yes, please go give a subscribe to Sinzar's, his YouTube channel. Watch his live streams, watch him clear COW and everything else. So yeah, thank you very much, Sinzar, for taking your time to join us today and talk with the community as well.
Thanks for the invite.
Thank you so much, Sinzar.
Thank you too.
Thank you. All right, and then the next update live stream is scheduled next week on December 17th. So we have another live stream next week, which is let me see, December 17th. So it's a Sunday, right?
Yes.
Okay. Monday for me, but Sunday. All right. So December 17th on Sunday. Hiroki will also be joining us. So make sure you look forward to that as well.
Cool. Always nice to see Hiroki. Hopefully it's present bringing Hiroki. I think that's everybody's favorite Hiroki.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's going to do it from us, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in today. And Tony and I assume I think am I on the live stream next week? I'm not actually sure. We'll see.
Yes.
Hiroki's there, so I guess I'll be there as well. Anyway, we will see you guys next week on December 17th. But thank you very much for tuning in today, and we will see you in the next one. But yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
See you later.